So, hello. Welcome back. This is the new moon in Aries, self-made themed secret code name readings. This is secret code name dice. All right. This is someone's personal secret code name reading. This is their reading. They know it's their reading because I gave them their secret code name, okay? However, if you did resonate to it, it has found you in divine time. Please know that there is most likely a message in here for you. All right. If you would ever like your own personal reading, secret code name, the link to my Etsy is in the description. You can book them there. You can find other awesome merch like my Goddess Kali t-shirt here, which I am totally calling in her energy today. Goddess Kali is the destroyer of destroyers, or the destroyer of demons. All right. And so we are focusing with this self-made reading on what the old version of self is so that we can remake the new self in order to create our highest good alignment, right? So I'm using my Icarus Tarot as a theme on what the healing is within the old version or the shadow that is being addressed. And then I'm using my Hermetic Tarot for some insight into what the current self behavior pattern looks like and what the ideal self or pattern looks like. And then I'm using my Universe Has Your Back deck as guidance. All right. So getting right into it, secret code name dice. Spirit, please. Oh, there we go. What is it? Justice. All right, so listen. The shadow that is healing, or the demon being destroyed, right, and remaking the self, is the perception of what is fair and unfair. That's what's healing. Okay. If we're talking about the Justice card being the shadow, sometimes what we think is fair is, it's not that it's not fair, it's just not considering what else is also fair, right? Great example would be the 5 energetic forms of currency, right? Everybody knows money is a currency. And so a lot of people think, well, I paid for this, you could pay for that, right? And that's fair. Well, if I paid this much, then next time you could pay that much, and that's fair. This tends to be a problem in relationship dynamics, right? Because sometimes you have one person that is more of the breadwinner or provider financially, and then the other partner maybe does other things that don't provide the same amount of money generation, right? So there's 5 forms of currency. Money and other items or things are in fact one of them. Love is another. Knowledge or wisdom being shared is another. Physical presence and or legacy is another. So is time, right? All of these things are energetic currencies that we give. So, you know, for example, maybe you and your best friend go out all the time and you make more money, so you're always paying, but, you know, they're always listening to your problems and always sharing knowledge or advice with you, or always holding compassion for you in there when you need them. So you might say, well, it's not fair because I always pay, they never pay. Okay, but they always pay in another form of currency. It's technically fair, especially if they're always there for you to listen to your problems more than you are there for them. You know what I mean? Maybe they're ready at the drop of the dime when you need them and they're physically present, but you know, if they needed you, you might be too busy this day, you might be too busy that day, and you might not drop things on a dime to be there for them, right? So there's energetic currencies that make the exchange of energy fair. Because in reality, no one is supposed to do anything. No one has to be there for anybody. No title, no nothing. Oh, well, you're my partner, so you should be helping me take care of my kids or whatever, blah, blah, blah. No one technically has to do anything. Everything is an energetic exchange all the time. No one has to help you with the house. No one has to help you pay the bills. Like, no one has to anything. People choose it based on energetic exchange. And when energetic exchange is not fair, people go their separate ways. people choose to end things. They go their separate ways, right? Usually whoever is on the short end of the receiving, right, who is over giving energy, is the one to call the break or let it go, right? And this is what people roll the dice on. They think that their value sometimes is more than what it is, and they roll the dice, and someone says, nope, I know my worth. I know my energy. I know what I give. I know all that I give. Right? Love could be truth. Love could, when no one else will tell you the truth. Love could be consideration when no one else considers you. Love could be an emotional investment to seeing your best day happen when no one else does that. Right? Love comes in many forms. Consideration, truth, compassion, you name it. Right? Understand what you believe is fair is what's being addressed to heal, so that you can appreciate the energy exchange respectfully for what it is, and understand unfair exchanges respectfully for what they are, right? Because just like there's energetic giving in those 5 forms of currency, there's energetic drains and taking too. Right? Someone can take your mental peace away. Someone can be a money drain. Someone could take up all your fucking time, and they're constantly interjecting or constantly showing up when you don't want them to, and they're bothering, they're interrupting your day. Like, there are definite energetic drains in those 3 areas or 5 areas, right? So understand, energy exchange being fair, it's the total net value of the exchange. Because you might be giving a whole lot in one arena, but you might be taking a whole lot in another. And if someone else is giving a whole lot in one arena, but they're not taking anything in the other, technically, for all you think you're giving, you're actually taking more than you're giving, energy-wise, right? So the Justice card, being what is healing in the shadow, is about what's fair. It is also about having no regrets, because if you think about the Justice card, it's representative or indicative of the scales at the end of life. When we pass from this plane into the next, we, go before the scales of judgment, and our soul is weighed on the scales against a feather. This is about having no regrets, that you wouldn't do anything differently, that you wouldn't regret giving energy to someone, because if you regret it, you don't understand it. If you regret it, you don't understand it. If you feel bad for someone, or feel pity on whoever, or feel like you could never take a chance on something, and you have regrets in your life because you never, saw what would happen if, well, that's what ends up on the scales. How heavy is your soul? What fears do you have passing forward? What guilt do you have moving forward? What insecurities do you have? Or what lessons of value of self are still need to be made, right? Is there self-loathing? Is there regret? Is there sadness, right? Is there the lies that you're telling yourself? Is there ego? And is there control? And, what is it? What is it that's making the soul heavy, that it wouldn't weigh up against a feather, is what is also being addressed, right? Things that would make your soul heavy. If your soul is heavy, it's because there is some kind of lack of understanding, which is why we reincarnate, to better understand what we missed the previous, right? So insight, please, Spirit. What is the current self look like? What is the current behavior? What is the current behavior? King of Wands, the Devil, and the Universe, or the World card. Lots of Saturnian energy. What does the highest good self look like? What is the highest good self pattern or behavior? The secret codename dice we need to shift into. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Wands. Top of the deck is the Seven of Swords. So Spirit is really addressing the lies that you tell to yourself, okay? That you would think someone is an energetic thief or using you or taking you for granted, when really that's a reflection of your own internal conflict with the Five of Wands on the bottom. We've got Saturn energy here. We've got Saturn energy here. We've got Saturn energy here. Capricorn energy here, which is also Saturn. And we have double Aquarian energy. All right, so listen. There's a lot of fixed energy or stubborn energy, because Aquarian energy is a fixed sign. It's fixed. Even Five of Wands, it's Saturn and Leo, and we've got Leo energy in reverse here. So you might have a serious time committing to others, because the King of Wands is a non-committal king. You might be the first to say, well, you don't appreciate me, right? Or you take advantage of me. Because someone is not giving you the exact same that you're giving them. With the sickles here, I'm feeling like you're the first to cut something off because it's not fair. And yet when you cut people out of your life, you're the one that's actually taking the loss. You essentially feel the loss of the person you're cutting off more than they feel the loss of you. Okay? Because essentially, if they're giving more energy than you were giving, they're gaining more energy back when they stop giving to you than you gain back when you stop giving to them. You don't necessarily see how you're abandoning what you deserve to receive in the other energetic forms of currency. Because we got Black Moon Lilith here. That self-betrayal, self-abandonment. Spirit's asking you to see or weigh the consequence of loss, what you're losing emotionally, right, with the Five of Cups. You might actually feel sad when you have to cut someone off because you really did enjoy them. It's just unfortunate, right? That it's not fair, but Spirit's trying to say, like, hey, maybe it's not fair and it's not necessarily the way you're perceiving it because you're lying to yourself. You know, maybe, you know, you picking fights with people or treating people worse off and expecting them to treat you with the same amount of giving when you're not giving the same in return. Like, maybe it doesn't feel good for other people. You've got, you know, with the Six of Swords in reverse, earned success. It's getting rid of the mindset that they have to earn your giving by giving exactly what you give. This idea that people have to earn from you. Because Sun in reverse, that's where you're falling short with your light. Spirit's asking you to please look at the difference with the Two of Pentacles between ideal and real. Ideally, yeah, you would want them to give exactly the same that you're giving. But the reality is maybe they are giving exactly the same that you're giving in a different form. Like, the amount of energy is still the same. It's still the same. Like, if someone takes time out of their day to go to lunch with you and catch up with you about your day and everything else, They're taking time away from everybody else in their life. They're taking time away from themselves. They're taking time away from the things that they need to get done that would make their life easier. Like maybe they had to do laundry and they're putting their own laundry off and going home to a house that needs work done, but they've taken time out of their day to give you time. They're giving you presence and time, right? As currencies. Not to mention they might be giving you emotional energy, right? Love energy, because they're holding compassion for you and consideration for you and prioritizing you. Maybe they're also being honest with you, sharing their experiences with you, right? That's 4 different forms of currency. So yeah, you might be taking them out for lunch and paying for lunch and paying for gas and paying for the meal and things, money, energy, but they're giving you the other 4 in return. You know what I mean? Technically, you'd have to address with this too. Why are you giving? Are you giving because it feels good to give, or are you giving expecting something in return with the Devil card? Like, do you give to certain people, you enjoy their company, you enjoy their time and advice, you enjoy how they're there for you, like you give to them because it feels good to give to them, and then recall it and take it back and say, no, I can't give to you because, you know, you don't give me the same. Like, do you give because you expect the same in return, or do you give because you care? Because you can't do both. One is highly aligned and one is not. Giving for the sake of giving because you love someone's company and time and you love who they are and you don't mind doing it, that you would give to them because it feels good to give to them, is not the same alignment as expecting the same in return. One is highly aligned and one is not. And they can't be both. It's either light or it's shadow. You might not realize that conflict that you have within yourself. And it's because you can't commit, right? King of Wands, you can't commit to your higher desire, which is to love someone for the sake of loving them because they do essentially deserve it and or earned it with all of the other currencies that they give you. You can't commit to that idea, right? The idea, the swords, the suit of the mind, you can't commit to that idea. You're lying to the self. So Spirit's like, what's fair is fair. If you're not appreciating this person for giving you the time and energy that they're giving you, well then I gotta remove them, even if it's because you're thinking this or thinking that, or they're feeling this type of way or that way. Like, fair is fair. You don't actually deserve this person in your reality then. You don't deserve all of that they're giving you because you feel like they're taking you for granted, right? Take this how it resonates for you. With whoever or whatever in your life is dealing with this, well, it's not fair. You're going to sit there and say, it's not fair. It's not fair. I always this, I always that, and they never this, they never that. Okay, but what do they do that makes it fair? And if it's not fair, why are you over giving and not cutting it off? Because it's not fair, right? Fair is fair. What about all the people that you are considerate of and you invest in and you share with and you are present for that don't do the same for you? Super, super stubborn. You're binding yourself to certain karma with the Devil card that's not necessary. And even in the Devil card, there's this crown of thorns, right, above his head. You see the spikes coming out of the ring. And it's interesting because the King of Wands also has a crown around his head with spikes coming out of it. I'm here to be devil's advocate. Like, if you're saying to someone, well, it's not fair, they take me for granted. I guarantee you the person you're talking about is saying the same thing. Like, I don't know what the fuck their problem is. They take me for granted. They take me for granted. All the time I invest in them, all the compassion I invest in them, all the consideration or presence or time like that I invest in them, and they're telling me because I don't this, that I'm not worthy of that. Like, they completely take advantage of me. They take me for granted. They don't appreciate me. The person you're saying it about is going to be saying the same thing about you. Same thing about you. The person spirit is asking you to be accepts that maybe you create your own loss. And that earning energy maybe, and it might not even just be a current situation, it might be a repeating pattern, so you might need to go back to past relationships and really see how things are fair or unfair with this kind of perspective, right? Because this inner conflict is creating your own self-betrayal, right? Ten of Swords is under that. Not being able to cross that threshold, like, you've got to be able to cross it so that you can heal and actually give equally, right? Because we have the Five of Wands with the Ten of Swords, self-betrayal underneath of it. Two of Wands is crossing the threshold into healing, which creates even exchange with the Six of Pentacles, an apology and expressing gratitude with the Knight of Cups under it. Really, the Foolish Man in reverse. You might have to go back. You might have to go back if you want to clear energetic debts so that you don't, at the end of your life, have your soul weighed on the scale against a feather, that you don't have a heavy soul. Like, you might actually want to go back and say, I'm sorry, I didn't value you the way you deserve to be valued. I'm sorry that I was essentially lost in ego or arrogance, right? Because the King of Wands, I mean, that's the truth about the card. And I didn't value you. You were always there for me. In other ways that I wasn't there for you. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I'm not saying, you know, we gotta reopen doors and be besties again or whatever, but I owe you an apology. I didn't value you. I'm sorry. Right? What's the guidance, please, Spirit? Yeah, I surrender. The Butterfly, I surrender to a power greater than me. Spirit knows what it's doing and it's trying to teach you what's fair. Surrender. Admit maybe that Spirit knows what it's doing to help you learn these things. Maybe it knows what it's doing in fairness more than you realize. Everybody has strong suits and things that are not their forte. Some people have a lot of presence, time, compassion, experience to share, and others have money and the ability to provide experience and things. sometimes one is someone's forte and the other isn't. The beauty of it is when people can recognize that it's okay that somebody's strength is not the same as theirs, but it doesn't mean it's not a strength. What if there were no compassionate people in the world? What if there wasn't anybody in the world who would make time for someone else? What if there was no one in the world who was considerate of someone else? What a shitty world that would be if those people didn't exist and that was no one's forte. And everybody was just focused on money and what you give and what you take and blah, blah, blah. We'd be living truly in the devil's realm. There's a reason why some people are exceptionally strong in the other 4 currencies. There's a reason. To be completely fair, you could even give them coin values, and of the 5 different currencies, like it might take 100 pennies worth of money currency to give. That equals $1 worth of love energy. You know what I mean? Like love currency might be the silver dollar, where money currency might be the penny. I do hope this helps. I have faith in divine time that it will. This is how you shift into your best self, understanding this concept. All right, self-made and your highest good. This is how you go from your old version, dealing with your demons, ego, pride, arrogance, whatever it is. Right, I'm sorry. Just read the cards, okay? This is how you shift into your best self, fully appreciating and understanding the concept of different currencies, right? Different love languages. Being able to speak other people's language, even if it's not your first language, still being able to understand it, right? I love you. My love and support is with you always. Okay? My love and support is with you always. Love each other. Love yourself. Take care. Bye.